Hey guys, let's get more news about Lakers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Mark Williams trade grades. Why the Lakers just missed out on an before adding Luka Doncic's new lob partner. The Los Angeles Lakers landed Luka Doncic over the weekend, but the push to bring aboard the future face of the franchise left them with an unbalanced roster that badly needed tweaking. On Wednesday night, they took their first real step in that direction. In a surprising trade, they landed third-year Charlotte Hornets center Mark Williams in exchange for Dalton Knecht, Cam Reddish, a first-round swap in 2030 and an unprotected first-round pick in 2031. The move may not register as earth-shattering by the lofty standard this deadline has set, but it's enormously significant for the Lakers in both the present and the future. Right now, Williams steps in as the center replacement for Anthony Davis, who now plays for the Dallas Mavericks. For the long haul, Williams figures to be one of Doncic's core teammates as the Lakers attempt to build a sustainable winner around their new MVP candidate. So how did the Lakers and Hornets do in this deal? Let's grade it below. Lakers, B+. At Doncic's introductory press conference on Tuesday, Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka cited versatility, mobility, and the ability to catch lobs as the key traits he was looking for in a center for his new cornerstone. Behind the scenes, Doncic reportedly shared with the Lakers how valuable it was for him to play with Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively too in Dallas, centers who possess those traits. That presumably compelled the Lakers to go out and find a similar player. They've done so in Williams, an elite 7-footer that should fit with Doncic and LeBron James immediately. Williams is averaging nearly 16 points per game this season, and almost all of them come out of shots created by teammates in pick and roll. As a reminder, he was playing for the lowly Hornets before. Now, he has two of the greatest pick-and-roll players in NBA history by his side. He is a strong offensive rebounder that puts back misses from his teammates, and he runs the floor well enough to pick up free points in transition. The offensive fit here is a no-brainer. That he's also a sorely underrated passer that can make plays out of the short roll is just a bonus. The immediate questions come on defense. Williams has one or two highlight plays per game that leave you convinced he is bound for all defensive selections. According to Crafted NBA, he has the 10th longest wingspan in the NBA at 7 to 6.5. Players that big should not be able to move as well as he does. He has all of the tools he needs to excel defensively. It just hasn't happened consistently yet. Too frequently, he is caught out of position or napping on a back cutter. In fairness to Williams, he's a young center playing on a bad team. Think about how much better Gafford got in Dallas. He was an underwhelming defender with the Wizards, but almost immediately grew into a high-end rim protector on the Mavericks. Williams should get better with both age and time in a better environment. The Lakers will have to hold him accountable, but there is no reason to believe he can't grow into a strong defensive centerpiece. So why a B+ instead of an A? A few reasons. Health is the biggest. Williams has played just 85 games across his first 3 seasons. A back injury ruined his sophomore season a year ago. Foot injuries have lingered this season. The Lakers are reportedly confident in his medicals, but any time a player has missed this much time, he has to be considered a health risk moving forward. Now, some degree of risk is a necessary component of roster building. What makes this risk so scary for the Lakers, however, is that they were already pretty limited in the assets they had to work with. They owed one first-round pick out to the Hawks from the Davis trade and another to the Jazz from the Russell Westbrook trade. They gave the Mavericks their 2029 first-round pick to get Doncic, and their 2024 first-round pick, Knecht, now plays for the Hornets. The Lakers are now down to 4 relatively meager tradable draft assets. They can offer their own 2025 second-round pick, swap rights on their first-round picks in 2026 and 2028, and the protected portion of their 2027 pick can be traded outright, essentially meaning the Lakers can tell a team you get our pick if it lands between number 1 and number 4. This was the sort of shot they could only really take once. If it doesn't work, they can't just trade more picks to correct the problem. The flip side of that, though, is that Williams is still on a rookie deal, and is therefore fairly cheap. The Lakers may not have many picks left to trade, but they have plenty of cap flexibility. Other center targets, like Nicholas Claxton or Clint Capella, would have almost certainly cost Rui Hachimura as matching salary. Now Hachimura is still in place, either as a trade chip to fill another hole or a player who can help the team now. Looking ahead a bit, the Lakers have barely any salary on their books for the 2026 offseason. Both Williams and Austin Reaves will have small cap holds as free agents if they are not extended ahead of time, and Reaves almost certainly won't be, so that will give the Lakers room to drastically reshape that roster at that point. Heck, James could even leave a bit of money on the table with his player option this summer, as he offered to do last summer if the right target presents himself. So yes, the Lakers are pretty limited on the asset front, and that prevents them getting an A here, given the risk associated with Williams. However, the reward of getting a player this good, this young, and this compatible with the existing roster earns the Lakers very strong marks. Rob Pelinka is having one heck of a deadline. Hornets, B. Rarely does it make sense for a rebuilding team to give away an up-and-coming 23-year-old as the Hornets have with Williams here, but in Charlotte's specific situation, it's a pretty defensible decision. For starters, the Hornets have grown increasingly reliant on two-way center Moussa Diabate since trading Nick Richards. He has been stellar for them in that stretch. Charlotte, yes, Charlotte has a plus 7.1 net rating with him on the floor post-Richards trade and a plus 5.9 net rating with him for the season as a whole. Many metrics suggest he is one of the best per-minute defensive bigs in the NBA this season. He has a long way to go offensively, but this trade could easily be a vote of confidence in Diabate rather than any sort of indictment of Williams. They figure to sign him to a multi-year deal at some point soon. Second, it's reasonable for the Hornets, specifically, to have a lower appetite for risk than the Lakers. Nobody is dropping Luka Doncic in their lap. If they sign Williams to a long-term extension and he can't stay healthy, they're not going to have an easy time finding or developing a replacement. Players want to play for the Lakers. That will be especially true now that Doncic is there. Even with their limited remaining assets, they just have access to a wider talent pool than most of the league, and that allows them to take chances other teams wouldn't. The Hornets already have an injury-prone star point guard in LaMelo Ball. Cashing in an injury-prone center at the peak of his value makes some sense. Lakers get prime buyout target after Jimmy Butler trade, and fans know them well. Weekend at Biden's? Sleepy Joe ready for his Hollywood close-up, and other top stories from February 6, 2025. No trade will top what the Los Angeles Lakers achieved when they acquired Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks. One of the few moves that stood a chance, however, transpired on the night of Wednesday, February 5, as the Miami Heat sent Jimmy Butler to the Golden State Warriors. Butler is the headlining name in the deal, with all-star wing Andrew Wiggins joining the Heat being the other big development. But one name on the move could directly impact the Lakers. Butler joining the Warriors creates a new form of competition for the Lakers in the Western Conference. Stephen Curry and Draymond Green now have an All-NBA teammate who has led a team to the NBA Finals as recently as 2023. According to Shams Charania of ESPN, the other players involved in the trade are Kyle Anderson, Dennis Schroeder, and Wiggins. Per Charania, the Utah Jazz will be acquiring Schroeder as the third team involved in this blockbuster deal. Based on Utah's place in the Western Conference standings, it's rational to believe that Schroeder could be a buyout candidate, and the Lakers could thus bring him in for a third stint. Could Lakers bring Dennis Schroeder in for a third stint? Utah is currently 11-37, sitting at the bottom of the standings in the Western Conference. Only the 8-41 Washington Wizards have a worse record than the Jazz, which is a clear indication of how unlikely it is for the Salt Lake squad to turn things around and make the playoffs. As such, it stands to reason that the Jazz could explore a buyout with Schroeder and thus make him available to the Lakers. If that were to transpire, Schroeder could become eligible for a third stint in Los Angeles. He previously played for the Lakers in 2020-21 and 2022-23. Helping the Purple and Gold reach the Western Conference Finals during his second term with the team. This time around, the Lakers would be hypothetically adding Schroeder to an entirely different team from a structural perspective. Rather than working the ball into Davis, Schroeder would be playing alongside Doncic. They'd certainly form an intriguing backcourt from an offensive perspective, as both players are capable of creating for themselves and others. More importantly, Schroeder could help address the Lakers' greatest offensive flaw, a consistent inability to create offense via the second unit. Los Angeles is currently number 28 in the NBA in bench points per game. With Doncic and Austin Reeves operating as starters, Schroeder could provide immense value to the second unit with his current averages of 14.4 points and 5.5 assists in 29.8 minutes per game. It remains to be seen how viable this acquisition would be, but a familiar face rejoining the Lakers may be a more realistic possibility than it once seemed. NBA, Lakers reportedly close to trading for center. The Los Angeles Lakers have long been exploring a trade for the NBA center position. Anthony Davis, for example, asked the team to trade him so he could return to playing power forward. Davis left for the Dallas Mavericks, while the Californian team continues to search for someone in the paint, but that shouldn't last long. According to Forbes' Evan Sidery, the Lakers management is actively working to close a deal for a center before the NBA trade deadline. Several names are on the table, but the fact is that the team is very close to closing a deal by Thursday, 6. While the Golden State Warriors have yet to make a decision on Nikola Vucevic, the Lakers could go after the center. Since Vucevic earns $20 million in 2024-25, he fits into the Los Angeles team's plans. Thus, it is possible to send contracts like those of Rui Hachimura and Christian Wood. In this case, Wood has an expiring contract and would only be included to complete the amounts. Finally, a first-round pick should suffice. In addition to Vucevic, the Lakers are reportedly interested in trading for a few specific names, including Clint Capella, Walker Kessler, Nick Claxton, and Robert Williams. Jakob Poeltl, from the Toronto Raptors, could also arrive. However, the Canadian team is expected to keep the Austrian on its roster. Read more. Mavs GM speaks out after star trade. NBA, Lakers see Luka Doncic as LeBron James' replacement. Lakers, Mavericks, complete trade involving Luka Doncic. After the trade for Luka Doncic, the Lakers lost Anthony Davis. In other words, their main rim protector. Now, a detail. Without him in 2024-25, the Lakers won 4 of the 5 games. The fact is that the Lakers want to trade for a center who offers more defensive characteristics to compete in the NBA playoffs. Thus, Williams, Capella, and Claxton would be the main targets. While the Portland Trail Blazers player is the cheapest of them all, due to his $12.4 million contract, he suffers a lot from injuries. On the other hand, the Los Angeles team needs something by the 6th. In other words, there is no way to choose or delay too much now, as there is a risk of being left with no one to replace Davis. The Lakers are looking to try to sell some of their expiring contracts in a trade. In this case, the team only has Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes, and Wood. Maxi Kleber, who arrived from the Mavs, could be the main backup center. Dorian Finney-Smith, who played the role for the Brooklyn Nets, could play some minutes. There are still some simpler alternatives, but without Davis, the Los Angeles team, the idea would be discarded. Subscribe to the Jumper Brazil channel on YouTube. All NBA information is on the Jumper Brazil channel. Analysis, statistics, and tips. Subscribe, but like and activate notifications so you don't miss any of our content. And do you want to know everything that happens in the best basketball league in the world? So, activate notifications in the right corner of your screen and don't miss anything. So, follow Jumper Brazil on social media and discuss with us the best that happens in the NBA. And are you a fan? What do you think of Vucevic's situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.